Good afternoon, everyone. I just wanted to come in and give you a few words of encouragement um, with everything that's going on these days, with the whole shelter in place, everything being shut down, church doors are being closed. I feel it's time that we, the people of the church, become the church. That's something that God's called us to be. Hebrews 10:25 says, not giving up meeting together as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. We live in a time right now where this whole coronavirus has literally taken over, and due to precautions we're taking, we have to do the social distancing where we can't actually meet together every Sunday inside the church and worship together. But that doesn't mean that we can't come together and worship together virtually online. And I actually think that being able to do that online actually opens us up to be able to do more of encouraging one another. I'm reaching out to each other and being the church together. So I just wanted to bring you some quick encouragement. What God has been putting on my heart lately has been talking about fires in marriage. There's two types. There's a contained fire, and then there's the wildfire. Um, and a contained fire is like, when I hear contained fire, I think of a fireplace. The fireplace was built to kind of warm up the house. If it's a real cold night and you have a fireplace, you can actually put a couple pieces of wood inside the fireplace and light it up, and the fireplace is built to keep that fire in there, keep the fire from coming out of the fireplace. You take care of it the right way, and everything's gonna it's just gonna the only thing that's gonna come out of the fireplace is the heat, the warmness. It's gonna make the living room comfortable, or wherever the fireplace is. Um, and it's just like in marriage. In marriage, a contained fire is being able to love on your spouse, just being there. Some of the things that I've saw about containing the fire in marriage, there's like never stop dating. Some people think, oh, well, dating is going out. It doesn't have to always mean going somewhere. Date when you're dating each other, it's a mindset. Go back to that place where you were when you first started falling in love with your spouse. You want to pray for each other. That's how you're gonna lift each other up. That's how you're gonna grow closer together, and having God in the middle of your marriage. Forgive and be forgiven. You guys get upset with each other. Learn to forgive and let go. Always be show that you're thankful for your spouse. Listen to your spouse. If Sit down and have conversations and actually listen to what's on the heart of your spouse. Um, and then make sure you're doing things together as a family. And like I said, I never stop dating goes back to holding hands. Just loving one another. Those are ways to have that contained fire in your marriage. Wildfires are more like fires that are outside of containment, and wildfires are fires that can destroy something. Um, it makes me think about a story that I have with one of my uncles. I was just talking to my mom about this the other day. My uncle he had this motorcycle, and it was one day when my grandma was at work. I think his motorcycle ran out of gas, and so he had it at my grandma's apartment. And he decided he needed to go get gas, but didn't have a gas can for it to go get it. So he got himself some kind of plastic container. I don't know what kind of container it was, but that was the first thing that he did. He went to the gas station and he filled up that container with gas, and he brought it back to my grandma's apartment. But it doesn't stop there. He ended up taking the gas inside my grandma's apartment. I don't know whether the container was in the kitchen or where it was, but the fumes from the container was strong enough to where the pilot from either the stove the a hot water heater, the pilot actually lit the fumes and started a fire in my grandma's apartment. Um, it was unintentional. I know that. He didn't mean to start the fire in my grandma's kitchen, but that's that's one of the things of a wildfire. It's takes one little spark, and then everything in its path gets destroyed until it's contained. Um, and so that's how it is when there's a wildfire outside the marriage. All it does is takes a little spark. It can be something as simple as you and your spouse get into an argument. So one of you goes into work and starts reaching out to someone who's not your spouse for advice. You start off as good friends and going to one another for advice and talking about things that shouldn't be any of their business, but they start giving advice about that. And little by little, feelings start growing, and once again, it's little sparks that are starting up. And sooner than later, those sparks are going to light up, and it's going to become a wildfire that's going to destroy the marriage. Um, it could be things like texting someone else, hiding text from your spouse. There's so many different ways to create that wildfire outside your marriage, and it's going to end up just destroying everything in its path. So, like I said, I pray that if someone is going through this situation, I pray that God gives you the strength to realize what you're doing, and put out those sparks before it becomes that wildfire that rips apart your family, rips apart your marriage. And One of the ways that I believe we get that strength from God to actually step away from making those mistakes, and to give us the strength to walk away, give us a vision to see what we're doing, and stop doing what we're doing before it ends up destroying everything in its path. I feel that God is showing me that it's when we are the weakest that God can use His strength to do things through us. And I don't feel that it's that we're the weakest when we're actually falling and sinning. I believe we are the weakest when we actually open up to God and say, okay, God, this is my downfall. This is where I'm falling short. This is where I need you to come into my life and give me the strength to walk away from this. 2 Corinthians 12:9 says, "And he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me." When we learn to cry out to God and ask God, okay, God, these are my confessions. This is where I'm falling short, God. I'm starting to see that I'm reaching out to the wrong person. I'm starting to see that I'm doing things that's not healthy for my marriage. Lord God, help me remove those things from my marriage, and help me draw closer to my spouse. Pray those prayers and confess to God where you're weak, and let Him do those mighty things with His strength. You don't need to think you have it all together, because we all need God. So I pray that this helps you, and I pray that this encourages you. So God bless, and everyone have a blessed day.